Good morning.
Thank you. Phone, but I keep my glasses.
I want to welcome everyone here today, especially our senior senator, Chuck Schumer. Thank you for being here. A little over 2 years ago when I assumed this position, Mayor, we looked at the problems in our neighborhood and issues with housing. We started a systematic approach of going through, doing code enforcement and dealing with problem landlords and problem buildings. And Senator, I have been truly blessed and very fortunate to have a broad-based community support where we have had bankers, realtors come forward to try and be innovative, try and be creative, to put forth programs and initiatives that would make Schenectady real estate attractive and enable us to bring people back to this community. And we've done that. We've done it with our banks, with realtors. The Daily Gazette has worked with us to make Schenectady a place that people want to live, people want to move here and want to own a home. Now, we have done that virtually without any public dollars. Banks have rewritten their mortgage programs, that they've done things that are innovative. Can we? To be creative and to make things happen. We've done that without public money. But the reality is there are some situations in the community that we just can't do by ourselves and the private sector cannot support it. And I'll just quickly introduce some of my staff.
Please.
Bill Winkler is the Director of Operations, Wayne Bennett, our Public Safety Commissioner, Brian Kilcullen, Chief of Police, Michael Delarocco, the Fire Chief, Jack Falvo, the Assistant Chief, Carl Olson, Commissioner of General Services, Richard Perga, Director of Development, Ahmad Yousufi, our Homes Coordinator, our Building Inspector, where's Eric Schilling, Anthony Ferrari, Deputy Finance Commissioner. Senator, these people have always been supporters of yours. Today, they are your best friends.
Sounds like with all these names, sounds like a World War II movie.
But they deal with the problems every day, and we're using this building as a backdrop.
Right.
That neighbors complain, there are problems, and it's ongoing. This building had a fire in November of 2009, and has sat here since then. We want to be able to go into the community and remove this urban blight. And looking at the programs that are available through HUD and through the Section 108 loan, it seemed to be a perfect fit to enable us to deal with this problem, to leverage other investments that are being made in the community. So I am so thankful that your leadership to step up and to help shepherd this through HUD in Washington, enable us to be able to do this, will have a significant impact on the quality of life and the overall value of housing in this community. And so, Senator, I'm proud to welcome you back to Schenectady, proud to have you here as a partner, and we sincerely thank you for your help and your innovation in this.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you. Well, thank you, Mayor. It's great to be back. I want to thank Mayor McCarthy for the great job he does. I wore the official Irish tie in his honor today. See? Look at that. Pretty good.
You're embarrassing me, Senator.
Yeah,
I should have put one.
please. Where's your green? It's Thanksgiving, you know. Wrong holiday. But it's great to be here. And I think what the mayor is doing with homes, the home ownership made easy in Schenectady, is just a fantastic campaign. I want to thank our council members for being here who backed him up, all the members who work for the city, as well as all of our community leaders, because you are the backbone of a community like Bellevue. And I'll get to that in a minute, but I thank you for caring and being involved and wanting to keep your neighborhood a strong, good neighborhood. And let me just say, one of the joys I get as I travel around is seeing things just improve and get better, particularly in upstate New York. And when I visit downtown Schenectady, my heart goes pitter-patter, because I remember what it looked like in 1998 when I was running, and what it looks like today. And it's jammed. You come on a Friday night or Saturday night, it's filled with people, new businesses and new restaurants and are moving in. Proctor's Theater, everything is going so well. And I was proud to play a role in some of that by getting, not by creating it, but by getting some federal help to help push things over the line a little bit. So I want to thank the mayor and all our elected officials and all our Schenectady leaders for what they did in that regard. But you know, it's even harder sometimes to bring back neighborhoods than it is downtowns. And yet they're just as important, if not more important. A downtown is great to have, but if you don't want to have people living in the city of Schenectady, if people can't stay in the city of Schenectady, that's not good. And neighborhoods, I grew up in a neighborhood like Bellevue. People from every different background, but everyone looked out after each other. When the kids played on the street and one of the parents had to be away, everyone else looked out for those kids. And I learned so much about all my different friends and neighbors from the different backgrounds, Irish, Italian, Polish, WASP, everybody, black, Hispanic. We had Greeks, everybody in our neighborhood. And it was great for me. And it's so important to bring back these neighborhoods because they're important. They're an important part of American life. And Bellevue is a classic in that regard because it's that kind of neighborhood where people grew up, people want to stay, they want their kids to come live here, be able to live here, people look out for each other. And our chair of the Bellevue Neighborhood Association told me it has about, where'd she go? Here she is. What's your name, ma'am?
Jackie.
Jackie told me Bellevue has about 6,000 residents. That's about 10% of the city of Schenectady. So bringing back Bellevue gives the entire city a big shot in the arm. And so what is one of the problems that we have in our older neighborhoods here in Schenectady, throughout the capital region and throughout New York State? It's behind me. Vacant and dilapidated properties. As the mayor mentioned, the building had a fire November 1st, 2009. That's more than 4 years ago, and yet there's been no progress. The property has an out-of-town landlord. He doesn't pay his property taxes, let alone make repairs. That's what we're up against, because when you have one building like that, it's like a cancer. And the rest of the neighborhood can't grow and strengthen and prosper. People who are thinking of buying homes down the street or opening up shops here on Broadway, they look at this abandoned building and they say, I don't know. Maybe I won't. So it's very, very important. And of course, when you have buildings like this, they tend to be places where gangs, criminals, other people hang out. And that's no good either. So hundreds of abandoned and derelict properties in Schenectady choke the neighborhood rejuvenation that's ready to happen, that can follow the model that we had in downtown Schenectady. They sap away local resources, scare away business, hinder job growth. And I don't have to tell you the history because many of you have lived it. Between the mid-50s and mid-70s, Schenectady lost about 25,000 jobs. General Electric massively downsized. Alco closed. Hundreds of homes in this neighborhood, which once housed GE and Alco employees, became vacant and fell into disrepair. Now the city has identified 130 of these buildings within city limits that are either completely deteriorated or require so much work that the cost of rehab outweighs their potential value. So you can't just sell them to somebody or give them to somebody. The blight costs the area significant resources, lost taxes, debris removal, inspection. Our police officers will tell you they have to pay special attention to places like this. So does our fire department. And so that's a problem too, because they endanger our police and firefighters. Derelict properties provide a safe haven to drug peddlers and users. They're the likeliest target for arson. And when a fire starts and our firefighters report to the scene, a structurally deficient property poses a greater danger to them. So, We have to do everything we can to prevent more houses from falling victim to abandonment and begin reclaiming those properties that have fallen into disrepair. And the city's doing just that. The mayor's H.O.M.E.S program, the mayor and the city council have put together a great program. It's a citywide effort to raise these vacant, rundown properties, paving the way for rebuilding and regrowth. The city of Schenectady's doing its part, so I'm here to pledge that I'm going to do my part by doing everything I can, using the clout, whatever clout I have in Washington, to get federal resources to help this effort succeed. Today I'm here on Broadway, in Bellevue, in Schenectady, in the Capital Region, to support the City of Schenectady's application for a $3 million loan from the Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development. Right now, that application has been pending in the H.U.D office since July. They haven't said yes, they haven't said no. My job is to get them to say yes, and to say yes soon. Now, the good news is the Secretary of HUD would also appreciate my tie. No, his name is Sean Donovan, that's all. But
We'll get him a new tie if we get the loan.
The head of HUD is a great guy, and he understands this stuff. And I've worked very closely with him. And I'm weighing in with Sean Donovan to make sure that Schenectady gets this loan. This is not a kick around HUD day, because HUD's been a good partner in the past. They've had a lot to do with everything that's happened. But I am here to say to HUD, we urgently need this loan. You're an agency that understands why a loan like this can leverage millions and millions of other dollars here in Schenectady, and we are hopeful that we will get it and get it approved swiftly. Let me tell you why it's an important loan. The city plans to use this loan to tear down 80 blighted buildings like the one behind me and to begin the process of redevelopment. But it also plans to use these funds to rehab properties that can be rehabbed, ensuring that much of the loan goes to redevelopment. They would rehab, for instance, 487 Knott Street into 14 units of rental housing. 8 would be affordable. And many other buildings like that. So in total, the federally backed loan both gets rid of the blighted buildings that can't be rehabbed and provides money to rehab the buildings that aren't in such bad shape and create real benefits for the neighborhood. It's clear that this project, Schenectady's Project H.O.M.E.S, perfectly matches the intention of Section 108, which is designed to be a source of financing for housing rehab and for economic development in working class communities. I can't think of any more project in our entire state more deserving of this loan, and that's why I'm very hopeful. I'd almost say optimistic, but I don't want to give it a jinx, but I'm very, very hopeful that we will get this loan. And so here's what I want to do. You want to tear down these properties? I want to tear down any bureaucratic walls that stand in the way of this application. So I'm going to take up the baton to help get this loan. Schenectady has a great spirit. It's so great to see everybody here. And let me, in conclusion, wish you all a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope everybody's with their families. In fact, I'm going to tell one story. I should have told it. I always tell a story. This is my Thanksgiving story. I was born on Thanksgiving Day in 1950. And those were the old days where, there was not all this touchy-feely stuff, the spouse is in the birthing room and holds hands with his wife and all that. They sent the fathers down to a little room to pace the floor, smoke cigars, and wait to see if it was a boy or girl, because they couldn't tell in those days. And so I was scheduled to be born at French Hospital. It was a hospital that's no longer in New York City. It was a hospital run by a French order of nuns. And it was on 30th Street and 7th Avenue, and my mom went into labor about 6 a.m., and so my dad drove her there and got her settled by about 8:30. And then he went down to that room to pace. But what did he realize? 30th and 7th Avenue, for those of you who may remember your Manhattan geography, is about 3 blocks away from the Thanksgiving Day parade. So my dad, being the free spirit that he was, wandered over to the parade, watched it for 3 hours, bumped into a friend of his, and they went into a pub after the parade to celebrate the upcoming blessed event. Well, he showed up at about 4:30. I had been born at 11. First fight between mom and dad. Anyway, praise God, I should say this, they've been married 64 years. He's 90, she's 85. It's a blessing to me. And so that little Thanksgiving Day thing didn't get in the way. Anyway, it's great to be here. Let me turn it back over to the mayor, and true happy Thanksgiving to one and all.
Again, thank you very much, Senator. Chair of the Schenectady County Legislature, Judy D'Agostino, City Council President Peggy King, my colleagues on the council, Vince Riggi, Marion Porterfield, Carl Erickson, Denise Brucker. Did Lisa make it? Lisa Prazzo. But again, it's so fortunate to have these broad-based partnerships within the banking community and the real estate community, Senator, that this will be leveraged many times over to make this community better and hopefully even be an example for other communities to follow. So we thank you for your support and your help, and just look forward to working with you in the future. You've done a great job, Senator.
Thanks, Mayor. Anyone else going to speak or take questions? Nope. Okay.
Just be open for questions.
We'll first take them on this subject and then on other subjects if you have other subjects. Yes, sir.